Hi, welcome to the Village of Eden podcast. My name is Nadia, your host. Happy New Year again. I know I did a quick little episode last week that was previously recorded, but I just wanted to come and say hello today and talk about 2026, 2025, what things are looking like, how things went, and prayerfully next week we will be back on topics and or whatever else the Lord has for us. So let's do some celebrations for 2025. How was your year? What did you do? What did you want to do that you didn't do? What did you do well that you didn't think you could do? Like, what happened last year? I was going through some kind of reflection questions yesterday, and some of them were similar to that. I'll read some for y'all. Maybe you can add it to your reflection or journaling today. So the categories for the reflections were celebrating your wins, honoring the challenges, embracing the lessons, and bringing it all together. So I'll just give a couple from each. From celebrating your wins, if you had to choose the top 3 moments where you felt the most alive or joyful in 2025, what were they? What is one good thing that entered your life in 2025 that you didn't plan for? What is something you know how to do now, whether it's a hard skill, a physical skill, or an emotional skill that you didn't know in January of 2025? Honoring the challenges, some of the questions are, what was the most difficult situation you faced this year in 2025? And looking back, was it external in circumstance or internal with your mindset? Is there a goal that you didn't hit or a project you didn't finish? And how does that make you feel now? Relief, regret, indifferent? And what is one fear or insecurity that followed you through the year that you are ready to acknowledge and release? Embracing the lesson. Some of the questions are, did you notice any recurring themes or patterns through this year? And examples that they gave were, I constantly overcommitted, or I thrived when I had a morning routine. What did you learn about your own capacity this year? How much rest do you actually need versus how much you thought you needed? And bring it all together. They only had 3 for this one, so I'll do all 3. If you had to describe 2025 in a single word, what would it be? If 2025 was a chapter in a book, what would the title of the chapter be? And list 5 people who made 2025 better and write 1 sentence about why you are grateful for each of them. So I was working on that yesterday, and I wanted to share that with y'all. So last year for me, finally launching the podcast was something that I am proud of and something that I did or accomplished and actually stay consistent with. In between seasons, of course, there was a break, but outside of that, it was weekly during each season. So I'm proud of myself for doing that. So for this year, something that I want to do is build on top of that. So I'm looking to just make things even better. Last year I was doing everything on my own. I just kind of fumbled around to figure out how to record and edit. The studio that I record in, they do a mini kind of lesson for how to use the things, but they're not like editing with you or anything in detail. So I appreciated what they did show me and that they provide all the things, but this year definitely wanting to build on top of that. Hopefully we can get in some visuals outside of using my own phone camera. That would be great. And then, some other goals on top of that. And this year, I think we will be getting into having guests on. So I'm excited about that. Some of my church family, we were talking through it and they encouraged me in a way of how to incorporate the guests and run those kinds of episodes. So I'm interested to see how that goes. If you are listening and are on one of the platforms that allows for comments, please leave a comment. I would love to see what kind of guests y'all would like to see on here. You want to hear from a mother, a wife, a pastor, someone that's been a mentor for young women. What kind of topics would y'all like to hear people talk about or questions that you have? And I can look at the people that the Lord has blessed me with within my community and my growing community with my new church family to invite them on and discuss those topics depending on who it is and what the topic is. So if you're listening somewhere where you can leave a comment, and if you're not, just take this over to our YouTube channel and comment on this episode on YouTube to let me know some of the topics that you like to hear about. As a reminder, Village of Eden, meaning community in the presence of God, the Village of Eden podcast purpose is to encourage women in faith, community, and growing in purpose in Jesus Christ. So anything that aligns with those areas, I look forward to discussing with other women. The Lord has really blessed me with a wide variety of women, be it different backgrounds, ethnicities, current stages, where there are similarities between us, but also many differences. So I would love for y'all to hear from them, and maybe their testimony, their stories, or their experience could inspire you or help you with wherever you are in life. That's really all that I wanted to share today. Just a recap of 2025 and what I'm looking forward to for 2026. And again, if you could go over to our YouTube channel and comment, I would also love to hear some of your takeaways, maybe your biggest thing that you did that you're proud of in 2025 and what you're looking forward to in 2026. So something else outside of dealing with the podcast for me is in 2025, I did quite a few small groups with church, which offered me the opportunity to grow in community and be around other women or new women each time, and growing in those relationships, learning about myself through these different relationships. And it's such a blessing to not be alone and to have people that you can be vulnerable with. Even if you're vulnerable with different people for different areas in your life, it helps to have someone else that either has been where you are currently so that they can help you, or where you've been where they are and you can help them, or if you're walking together in a similar season. All of those areas are a blessing to be a part of and a gift from the Lord. And so that is something that I was able to grow in last year. And I am excited because the Lord has called me into a new church family, a new house. I'm excited to get to know the people in this context, in this family, and grow in different areas. I'm really excited about that. And so that is something that I'm looking forward to for this year for sure. And I can't wait to see what the end of the year looks like from all of this. So what are you looking forward to? What did you accomplish last year? What is a goal that you have for this year? And what are your experiences and something that you're looking forward to in regards to community? I would really love to hear from y'all on that. Last year, all episodes, as you know, if you've been here, and if not, that's all right, girl. Welcome in. We're all me, no guests. And each week was something that the Lord put on my heart to talk about. And so I'm just excited to come into a new season. I'm sure there will be plenty of solo episodes, but I think that He's allowing to move into bringing in other women and people within my community, and maybe people that I admire that I don't have close relationship with, but I admire their story or their relationship with the Lord. And so I can't wait to get into that. And yeah, it was just a quick little episode, a little reflection in what we're looking forward to. If you don't already have one, honestly, I just started this maybe 2 years ago, but a word for the year from the Lord. I used to hear people talk about it and I didn't understand how they got it. Like, what do you mean you got a word from the Lord for the year? Funny enough, He's actually given me one the last couple of years, and I ended up having 2 words last year. So this year He gave me my word. What's your word for the year? I would love to hear what your word is. And I want to remind us that this is, it sounds like such a hard turn, something completely different from what I was just talking about. But I just want to remind us that anything that we receive from the Lord is a gift and something for us to steward, not just something for us to have. When we remember that the earth and everything in it belongs to the Lord, then we can ponder and sit on and accept the fact that whatever the Lord gives us belongs to him anyway, because everything down here belongs to him, right? And so when he does give us something, it's something for us to steward. It may be a gift, of course. Many times it's something that you enjoy. So if the Lord allows for you to purchase a house, it is for you to then steward. So you wouldn't get a gift, you wouldn't receive a gift from someone and then in their face trash it or put it away, try to hide it. You would make most use of it and take care of it. And so if it's a house, you would care for the house. Let's make sure that we're keeping it clean. Offer it back to the Lord. Does he want you to host people there? Do you have the gift of hospitality and he wants you to bring people into your home? And not everything has to be a small group. Like mentoring and developing close relationships with people in community can be you and one-on-one with someone else. And by having them over, you don't even have to be talking literally about the Bible, but spending time together and allowing others to see how you live just in general, how you move, how you treat your home, how you treat your family, your husband or your children, or how you treat the things that the Lord has given you or given you to do. How do you talk about those things? How do you carry yourself? Like all of those things minister, especially when people know that you are a follower of Jesus Christ. And so, yeah, when you get a house, offer it back to the Lord. How do you want me to best use these things that you've given me? Children are not ours either. They also belong to the Lord. And that is a good reminder for me, because sometimes when you think of things as your own, children included, you can be a little more rough with them than you would with something that you know belongs to somebody else. Like if you were holding somebody's phone for them, you wouldn't throw it over into the seat or onto the bed or throw it into a bag like you would your own. You would handle it with more care. And with children, when you think of them as your own and not as little people that the Lord has given for you to steward, because he knows you, he knows who you are. So were given to you on purpose. But sometimes I could be more irritable with my children than I would somebody else's kids. And one of the ways that the Lord has been like catching me in that and growing me in my parenting is when things like that would happen. If I'm catch myself yelling or catch myself being irritable or with the attitude or anything, he reminds me of like, I wouldn't say that or do this in that way if this was someone else's kids. You'd be more patient or more kind or more gentle if it was someone else's kids, which are fruit of the Spirit also. And so a reminder that the kids belong to the Lord should be an even bigger incentive to treat them well. And that doesn't mean withholding discipline or correction. Obviously, they are still children and you are still the parent, but just remembering who they came from and who they actually belong to, I think would reframe how we approach them. So again, anything that the Lord gives us is a gift. It's not a reward or something that we're earning. We're not doing good so that we can get X thing. The Lord may prepare us for the gifts that he wants to give to us. And the example that he gave me just the other day was similar to a teenager. Let's say the parent promised them a car when they get their driver's license. The car is the gift, but it wouldn't be wise to give a child a car before they're ready for it, right? And there's a preparation period, a build up before you could even be eligible to drive a car, right? You need a license to be able to legally drive a car. How do you get a license? You take driver's ed, preparation classes, a test, then you get your license. And even then, the promise of a car doesn't mean like, okay, I did all these things, now give me my keys. No, a gift is a gift and it's given freely, not so much a reward or something you're entitled to, but a gift. And so that is something that me and the Lord have been talking about the last few days. So I think when we think about coming into the year and the things that you desire to do, or even a promise that the Lord gave you, remember that anything from the Lord is a gift and it's given to us, of course, for joy because we are his children, but also to steward. And there's a purpose in everything. He's rarely, I don't want to say never, because, you know, just like a parent, sometimes you may give your kids a little candy just because. Just a little treat. That exceedingly and abundantly that the Bible talks about. Just a little treat. Not because it's anybody's birthday. Not because you got good grades. Just giving you a treat because I'm your parent and I love you and I want to give you a little something. But the things that the Lord gives us are gifts and for us to steward over. And so thinking about what you desire for the year, or even what, like I said, the Lord has promised you, remember that all things belong to him and in the fullness thereof. And when it comes, of course, receive it with gratitude and ask him how he wants you to steward it and use it well and go forth with joy. So I pray that you have a good week this week. I'm going out of town this weekend. I'm excited for that. And I pray that next week episode we're getting into something good. Check out our YouTube channel, check out our Instagram at Village of Eden. YouTube is the Village of Eden podcast, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.